stunt fighting and exercise training.
Did you have any kind of input into the script? Did you say, I don't see myself doing that, but I see myself doing this? Or,
no.
At any point?
No, I just went with it. I was just excited to be a part of it, really.
They built the perfect vehicle.
She was busy. You went into
so
this training was nuts.
Yeah.
That she went through.
Like 3 hours of stunts in the morning and then 3 hours of massage training, M4, miniature Uzi, Glock. Aaron Cohen, who's they?
He was in Duke Devon, which is different than massage. Actually,
yeah.
I think they hate each other, but there's something.
Yeah,
there's a whole, like, you know.
Well, anyways, he put a damn GPS on my car and tracked me, and I'm extremely paranoid.
Do you feel, could you say what part of you most overlaps with Mallory as a character? I mean, what part of you do you feel is up there on the screen, apart from the fighting stuff?
Oh, I was going to say the aggressive part. I think maybe just the will to survive.
I was struck by something watching it the second time in how you delivered your dialogue. Apart from when you're talking to Channing Tatum, where you're quite normal, with everybody else there's a certain kind of, I'm not sure what the word is, but there's a certain kind of authority about how you talk to everybody. And I was very struck by that way of delivering things. Was that something that just came out naturally, or was that something that you and Stephen arrived at?
I definitely think that's something that me and Stephen arrived at.
No, I mean we were, when I talked to Lem about the character, I said, look, she's got to be a female Clint. You know, it's got to be, the way she speaks has to be very terse, very lean, like no wasted words, no wasted energy. Just her whole way of being needs to be really kind of minimalist. And so with that, I think when you know, apart from the fact that Gina as an athlete has a physicality that I think is really difficult to fake if you're not an athlete, and the fact that there were two things that I was convinced by, you know, when we met and talked. Two things you need if you're going to be on screen. One is what to do with your body, just physically what to do with your body, and the other is what you do with your eyes. If you know those two things, you can everything's going to be fine. So I sensed that wasn't that she could do this. I really felt she could do it, and my job then became convincing her that she could do it. You know, because it's one thing, she would tell you, it's one thing to go into a cage and fight something. It's another thing to be standing in front of Michael Douglas and having to, like, deliver dialogue. It's terrifying.
When I was introducing the movie, I said I said it was no frills, but I realized watching it again that actually there's a lot of frills in one particular area, and that's in the music. I'm trying to imagine what the movie would be like without the music. The music is really unusual, and usually music in movies I find really intrusive and really spoils the mood. Here the music was really to the fore, but it really seemed to kind of accentuate things. So I'm wondering if you could talk about your collaboration with, is it David Holmes? David Holmes, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the particular style that you chose is really, it seems like a little bit of a throwback to music maybe in the late 60s.
Oh, absolutely. Part of the reason to make the film, part of the reason I think you make any film, possibly, is in reaction to something else that you've seen. In this case, in reaction to a lot of other action films that I've seen in which I felt the music was not memorable, in which I felt the music was intrusive, in which I felt the music was an attempt to hide something or distract you from the fact that they didn't have the goods. And so we talked a lot about the feel of the music and also when it would be used, because rule number one for us was we're not going to score the action sequences. We do when she's running, like that was sort of our rule. If she's running around, then we can have some music. But if she's hitting people, there's no music. And you know, we kind of stuck to that. There was a lot of discussion internally for a while about whether or not that would work, particularly in the final fight with her and Ewan on the beach. There was a sense that, you know, come on, it's the last one. You know, won't you just come on, put something there? And I just thought, no, I like the sound of the ocean. I like the sound of their feet on the sand. I like the, you know, we can't just switch. We can't just violate our aesthetic in the last, you know, 3 minutes of the movie, because that's what people tend to do. And so, you know, hopefully the things that are potentially worrisome when you're making a movie because they're not traditional will end up being the things that people like about it. That's our hope.